I know Damon Frost as Rubberband Man. How did you get your name? Why?
I wasn't a flexible person. And so I had to go to work, like the W's, the hydraulics, all this stuff. This did not come natural to me. I guess when you're a young person, you're fighting your demons of like self-confidence and whatever, and without the community to really convince you, and still they could be saying it, but no, but then there's some event and all of a sudden you're in the spotlight and everybody goes, ooh, and you see the response and then you understand, okay, maybe I got something here. This doesn't happen without community.
All right, what's up, everybody? This is Jackie Miss Fun from Versastyle Street Dance Company, and here we are for the Versastyle Legends and Legacy podcast interview. And this time we have the one and only Damon Frost.
Hello, everybody.
Here we have
Good to be here.
Damon Frost in the house in Los Angeles.
Wow.
When we heard he was coming here, I was like, well, he's not just going to be part of our festival. We need to interview this man because we're at this point in our careers, Breezely and I, where it's about interviewing our folks that have paved the way for us to be dancing the way that we do now. If it weren't for folks like Damon Frost and the list goes on, we wouldn't have this dance culture that we call today, right? Especially when it comes to the industry here in LA and everything that's happening. So nothing than hearing the story from the horse's mouth, right? Here he is. And Damon, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me,
It is an honor to see you again. Turns out the last time we got to see you was in 2019, right before COVID. Those were the days. COVID changed everything, but that's another conversation. But thank you so much for coming back.
Thank you.
I know you were here in Boston for another event.
Yeah.
And Breezely got asked to be one of the one of the battle guests. Yeah. And he told me, guess who's here? Damon Frost. I'm like, oh my God, get him a plane ticket and let's bring him to Los Angeles. So I don't take this for granted. All this to say, I don't take these moments for granted, but I also am a big believer that things are meant to unfold exactly how they unfold. Mm-hmm. And I think it's no coincidence that you're here.
I agree. I felt it.
To share and be with us and dance with us, you know? So Damon, thank you so much. That was the biggest introduction. I just can't help it. It's like, I want to if I had confetti, I would throw them right now. Anyways, Damon, I think I'm just going to get right to the point here. The whole goal of this interview for me is for folks to just get to know you first. Okay. I know Breezely will interview you second, but I want people to just really get to know you for the person that you are, you know? Many times my experience has been that, when we see the people that we admire, we're just like in awe, but what is your story? Who are you? Who are you really? And my biggest reminder is that we're all human beings, right?
Very much so.
So with that said, tell me your origin. Where are you from? Where were you born? Where were you raised? Okay. Let's start with that so people get a sense of who you are.
All right. So coming back to Los Angeles is special for me because this is my place of birth. So I was born here. Lived with my mom and dad while they were together until I was 4. When my mom and dad separated, then me and my mom, we went off traveling and moving everywhere, up and down California, Hawaii, and later the Bay. So, So basically, amazing. That's a whole lot of moving. I mean, placed, like I can't remember how many schools I've been to. I mean,
how come you moved so much? What's a little bit of background on that?
My mom just liked to travel. She a free spirit, didn't feel like hanging around too much, and I got into the routine. So I would we would pack our bags and we'd go and we'd hitchhike this place and fly to this place. My dad worked for um, United Airlines, so it
Ooh,
like facilitated us being able to go wherever we decided to go. So we just, you want to go to Hawaii? It's like, yeah. And so, and so as a kid, I'm hopscotching back and forth between the islands and
in the
the
Bay.
Bay. Yeah.
Wow. So, like, how old were you when you were traveling from Hawaii to the Bay? Like, what age frame is here?
Okay. So like from when I was fourth grade until junior high school, maybe.
All right.
Yeah.
So, when, because I think we're going to be going back and forth a
Mhm.
bit. When did you start dancing?
Okay. So a lot of people in my family dance and they just dance really casually. So I didn't really understand that this was a thing that other people didn't do. So my
I
mom
hear
would
you.
dance around the house and my dad would like cat like nothing too much, but like there would be a like party that I would remember from when I'm 3 years old and 4 years old, and I was seeing people moving, dancing to music, like, and it was my, I had to go to sleep, but I could see through a crack in the door. So it's always been around, and my cousins in San Diego would move around a little bit, and my dad would take me to visit his friends, and I was seeing it. I was traveling everywhere. So almost as long as I could remember, I remember like going to church when I'm like 4, and I remember trying to do the James Brown in my church shoes. Like this, it was always something.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a career thing or a passion until later.
Till later.
Mm.
So it was just integrated in your
Yeah,
family. It
I
was
thought, yeah,
part
yeah,
of
yeah,
who you are. It's how you grew up,
very
period.
much so. Like we went on my mom's English, and
Okay.
so we went to England and a couple places in Europe in 1976. So
Wow.
I'm 11, and when I'm 11, I'm going into discotheques with my mom, like, and so I'm
How
used
lucky.
to clubs and this thing. This is
It was in your like
I'm just
blood
yeah,
already, clearly with your mom and dad, in
yeah.
a sense for appreciate a deep appreciation for music,
But
right?
also that time in the United States when the radio was just incredible. You'd get like all these different genres like back to back, and uh, your musicality had like a breadth and
Yeah,
a depth
yeah.
to it.
And
So
the radio was a gift in a whole other
wow,
way because you had to wait for that favorite song, right? That when that song came up and you knew the world would stop and you would turn on the volume and
yeah,
everybody
yeah. I have a
would.
lot of those moments. I remember like sometimes specific dates I have trouble remembering, but
Mhm.
I remember the timeline in regards to when that song came out. Yeah, and then I have to Google when that song came out, and I was like, okay, that's 1978. Okay, that's this. This is like the music. My music memory is very specific, that I remember. I can.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
And I think we could get into that later because I mean, I know you as a dancer, artist, but as I've gotten to know you, clearly a
mm,
deep appreciation and love for music,
yeah.
which we could get into. But it's because we're still talking about your
Mm,
origins here.
mm,
I love that because I feel it informs, right?
yeah.
There's a lot of dancers now, especially in Los Angeles. My experience is that they relate to the dance, but only from a studio format, right?
Okay.
Or just going into a studio.
Mm,
But what is it to like really grow up within this culture and be in the culture? So I'm saying that as I'm thinking and informing this question because here you are going from Hawaii to
mm,
the Bay.
mm.
God, the cultures
Yeah,
and what you're being exposed
radically.
to,
Yeah.
complete
Surfing to
difference.
city. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I cannot even so, but the music too.
yeah.
And so fast forward a bit, I guess in that sense, how did Hawaii and the Bay inform your dance? How did it do that? Did it? Did it
Um,
not? Is this something you've thought about?
I would say it did in a way because like I was really connecting to the music in every place. Like in Hawaii, if I hear like easy rock, if I hear like the group America, if I hear like these things, then I'm like Hawaii. Yeah, I remember this. And if I'm thinking of flashlight, it's like I know where I was. I remember the school bus. I remember the AM radios. I remember specifically like chunk, chunk, chunk. And all those things gave me a wide appreciation for maybe not being locked into one genre, but being open-minded enough to take elements from this area later when I'm producing and sampling, because I
Yeah.
have a wider palette to draw from,
Yes, of
you know.
course, of
So
course.
this all came in, and of course, the music and dancing is the same
I
thing.
mean, I see that in the dance,
Yeah.
especially with you. Today, he got to be one of our guests at UCLA, and to have Damon Frost teach at UCLA is a big deal for us because these institutions are not built for hip hop and street dance. So then to have a legend himself like Damon come and teach was like epic in that sense. And I'm just sharing that because I want folks to know how you fully immerse yourself in these experiences and you're there to give back. And
I really enjoy it.
and I bring that up because something that really moved me that you said to one of our students came up to you. He's like, "You do hip hop?" The way he said it so casually, so innocent too in so many ways because that's his world,
That's a good
right?
question.
But but your answer, just to get to the point, the one that spoke to me is, we're like, I don't like putting myself in boxes. I just dance, and I was able to like relate in a sense because I feel hearing that you're going from Hawaii to the Bay to Europe. Who goes to Europe in the 70s? I mean, this
Yeah.
is like access in a whole
Yeah.
other way that
Yeah.
you had. How that has opened your mind to be this artist and dancer that you are now.
Yeah.
So here we are. You're
Mhm.
now, you grew up in this culture, you're traveling, you love music. Clearly, your parents have a deep appreciation for music and dance. You say you were like trying to mimic James Brown, right?
So I am solidly a byproduct of the funk era. So before hip hop came in, it's like I'm like a funk,
Funk.
like,
It
yeah,
speaks to you. Well, look,
from New
Miss
Orleans to
Funk is so
Ohio
excited right
to,
now.
yeah,
I mean, I love funk music too. And then,
obsessively.
but I also, the way we relate to funk,
Yeah, yeah,
right? It's like, it doesn't speak to me, but I feel it in my
yeah.
bloodstream. Like it's this, it moves me
Yep, yep.
in the
And,
best
and
of
and there's a
ways.
lot of things that I feel are considered funk, or excuse me, they're given the name funk. Like if you put some wah wah guitar and you have a chink 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 chink, and people think that's funk, I'm like, no, that's not the feeling that I recall from some of these profound songs, like woo, just moody
Yeah.
stuff that puts you like listening to a song on repeat for like a few days,
Yeah.
like
I
just
hear you.
woo, and then you have a strong feeling for it, and then it's your turn to dance to it, and what comes out, this is the stuff.
It's magic.
Yeah.
So speaking, going back to the dance, here you grew up, you're dancing for fun, you're in it, it's integrated. What was your first professional dance gig or your
Oh,
first professional dance like exposure in that sense?
okay. So there was a time I was like a pro BMX freestyler. And
Wow.
so this was like once upon a time, this was my life, and this is where I met my son's mother. She was a skateboarder, and I was a BMXer, and it was just
Oh
wonderful.
my
She's the
God.
person that got me to Sweden. So the first professional gig was at some point, 81. I had an accident that took me out of biking, and I went a bit stir crazy. And then I just put my focus, like hyper zoom, into dancing. And with a cast on, I did the audition to be in the San Francisco Ballet Breakers. Uh, Out of 1,500 auditioners, I made like one of the top five people.
Straight audition and you got noticed.
Yeah. And so I was like involved with that project. Wonderful. So um, that put some light on me. Was doing like television appearances and this. So from then, that was like on from there. And I was teaching since 1982.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Was anybody in your family involved in the industry in that way, or are you the first?
Yeah.
When I mean like
Yeah. Yeah.
booking gigs and performing on stage.
Um, no, I was pretty much the first in that regard.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I did
And
not know that.
the reason I'm smiling is because I have a stage mom. She's a real thing. So
I could only
So,
imagine if your mom was sitting next to you.
yeah, I'm
What's she
going to
gonna
talk to her
say?
in a couple of days. Yeah.
Wow. Well, congrats on that
Yeah,
turn. I mean, that clearly that experience changed the trajectory, I believe,
totally.
in pursuing dance as a
Totally.
career.
Totally. And also, the area where I was living, my neighborhood, totally supported my bicycle riding. And when it was time to dance, it's like I already had a bit of a name for myself, like as like, oh, BMX Damon, and they it opened doors for me. Like I was privy to see certain things and information and to trade techniques with people that weren't uh, were really closed otherwise, but they were like BMX Damon, yeah, cool, that's and so I was getting in, and that really
I mean, that's a testament to networking in a whole other way
wow.
and relationship building, which is
Woo.
something I'm so fond to teaching our
Yeah,
audience. Specifically,
yeah,
when I talk audience, it's the youth.
yeah,
Lee, Breesley, and I, and the mission of Versastyles to inspire, to really mentor and inspire
yeah,
high school to early college.
yeah.
I feel there's something about that age group where, like, if we could get them
There's,
there,
yeah.
it changes a trajectory in a whole other way.
Well, there's this thing. I guess when you're a young person, you're fighting your demons of like self confidence and whatever, and without
Mm.
the community to really convince you, and still they could be saying it, but no. But then there's some event, and all of a sudden you're in the spotlight, and everybody goes ooh, and you see the response, and then you understand, okay, maybe I got something
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
This doesn't happen without community. It's
Yes, you're
really hard
right.
to make that,
So,
unless you're just a total ham. And
yeah,
I
yeah,
and I
yeah.
wasn't. I was like quite shy in that regards.
Oh, I mean, I love to hear when people are shy and they have these breakthroughs in
Mm.
another way. So here you are, this BMX Damon.
Yeah.
But
Oh.
everybody, I know Damon Frost as Rubberband Man.
Mhm.
Like that was like Rubberband was what stood out to me. I
Yeah.
was like, who's this guy?
Yeah.
I remember Breeze showing me to these
Yeah.
VHSs.
Yeah.
I come from a VHS era still, people.
Mm.
And I remember watching you on
The
some
flat top one.
VHSs. I just the one that I got first exposed with you in VHS was the one with you in Salah.
Oh,
Believe it or
2004.
not. And I'm like, who is this man? Because you literally, to me, were a testament of rubber band. Like,
Yeah.
how did you get your name?
Yeah.
Why? How
Okay.
did that happen?
Yeah. So my dad's like loves Philly soul. He loves the OJs. He loves the Four Tops, the Spinners, and his favorite singer is Felipe Wayne from the Spinners. And I'll tell you a quick story about this afterwards. But so anyway, there's a song by the Spinners called "The Rubberband Man," and he would call me this. He'd see me dance a little bit, and he goes, "Come on, do it for me, Catfish. Come on, Rubberband Man." Do this. So I stuck with this thing. So later, so I was like, okay, that's nice. The OJs. It's like, okay, that's nice. But I was feeling funk, right? And every funk song that I would play them, like somehow there'd be a connection to Felipe Wayne in their songs. Like, so for instance, Knee Deep, there's this guy singing, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it, this, it's Felipe Wayne's. So I played this song to my dad. I'm like, I like this. He goes, of course you like it. It's Felipe Wayne's. I'm like, what? It is?
Without you already had a connection. It was inevitable.
Yeah.
So your dad gave you this AKA
Yeah.
that became worldwide.
Yeah.
I mean,
And what happened with this that I didn't realize until later is so like I'm tall for my age, being young, and I'm mega gangly and I'm a little clumsy. And it wasn't my plan for this to coincide with the rubber band thing, but being loose and that name, it looked like it was a concept, even though it wasn't my master plan. And so like I wanted to have my stops super clean, and
mm-hmm.
I just couldn't stop clean. So it was a little loose, but the fact that my name gave me some leeway in this regard. So of course it's a rubber band. He's loose. It's like
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
worked.
But
So
that's to me a perfect example of that. That was your calling, though.
yeah, yeah,
It was meant for you,
yeah, yeah,
no one
yeah. I
else.
got luck. I lucked out
I don't know if
though.
it's luck. I think again for me,
Destin,
I get
Destin.
deep,
I'm
like in
sorry,
that
guys.
sense. But like
For
that
promise,
was
I
your
know it's not
path,
luck. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in that sense. Because what you are able to do with your body for your height, I'm just gonna say it. It's unexplainable for me. I
Okay.
mean, even back then when I was in my 20s watching you, I'm just like, how does he do that? How are you 6'3" and then you become 4'2"? Because you're like instantly. And the way you were able to move in ways where I was able to follow you, you were always storytelling in that way. So I love how you said, how your dad did it, and there was this connection, but I think you did take it to a whole other way. So here you are. I'm saying this, that you took it to this whole other thing. Did you? What was your intention? So here you are, like, I know you have a big name in the battle scene, and I'll probably save that more for Breeze and you to converse about. But, how did that name, and as you're dancing and evolving in dance, how did that continue? Was there intention for you?
In what way?
In ways where you're booking gigs, in ways that you're performing, in ways that you're showing up?
Once it was on, once I gave myself the green light, then I was trying to conquer the world. I was trying to get it once I understood, but it took me a while to understand. But once I understood, then
And when you understood what did that mean at that time?
There's so when I lived in Hawaii, Black people weren't so popular in Hawaii, but they weren't quite haoles. But the Popolos was like, okay, it's like we're kind of a similar shade, but it was like, so I got a pass, and I saw a lot of people get bullied, and in Hawaii I had to learn how to fight and stick up for myself because the Polynesians are warriors.
Yeah, they are. Yes.
And then people would back me up, and I got the sense of loyalty, and I understood. I was like, okay, certain things have to be certain ways, and I say all that to say that when I would see people getting a little bullied in the dance community, I'd step in and I was like the police who would try to stick up for them to make justice.
Of course you did.
So this was my little, policing idea. And so I gave myself license to like travel someplace like, I was like taking names and taking a plane trip to this place, like trying to get at specific people.
Yeah.
Like because of something that was said, I was bugging.
In our 20s, we have a whole other energy.
Oh,
and I've learned that. And I keep learning that because the people that Lee and I work with, they're all in their 20s. So the energy, I'm coming to just calm myself down. It's like,
I could have handled some situations better, but I got lucky. And the name would stick, and I would be in like really large settings. So decades later, I realized that it really worked for me because when people met me and they're like, "You're that guy?" Yo, and people were hooking me up with work and stuff based on what rumor had it that there was this. This is pre videotaping time.
Wow, yeah,
You
you're
know what I
right.
mean? So this name had legs of its own and had was getting me work.
Yeah. Well, here I'm like, as I'm hearing you speak, I keep thinking, I get excited. This is what this is about. It's a conversation, everybody, But I think going back, you were talking about funk music. Funk speaks to you.
Yeah.
How did you specifically get introduced into popping?
Okay.
Because I can't help but make it a correlation. I think it's very much connected.
Very much.
I know for me personally, when I hear funk, I would not move my feet. It was an internal feeling. Yeah. So how was that for you?
Okay, so first I'm like a James Brown fanatic.
Okay.
So fanatic.
You know all the moves.
Well, I couldn't do them, but I
did your best.
I did my best in my church shoes trying to make it work. But so at some point, so I have family in San Diego.
Okay.
My grandparents, my cousins, and my uncles and stuff. And my cousin, Sheila, Mickey, and Kevin were trying to get me into Bootsy. And I was like, this kind of weird. I didn't really, and they're like, listen to this. And it wasn't really sticking. But then there was this one or two songs that really got me.
Do you remember the songs?
There was a few. I remember like Rotor by Bootsy, like this this slap bass
The-
crazy song tempo. It's just crazy.
Okay.
And yeah. And so once you just get a foot in the door of it,
Hmm.
you can't unhear it, and then you need more of it. And then I went in. And let me see, 1975, I'm 10 years old, and I'm trying to do the robot. So, and mannequin, and but that's what we're doing in fourth and fifth grade, right?
Okay.
And Soul Train is on, and the lockers have Slim, you know.
Slim the robot.
And I used to want to try to lock, but it was just too complicated for my clumsy ass. It was just like I couldn't handle it. I wasn't
Yeah, yeah,
catching it,
yeah.
and you just get a glimpse, and then it was off. And it's like you couldn't. It was it was happening faster than I could,
Pick up.
right. But the idea of robot, I'm like, okay, that's a machine. I can attempt this, and so I was trying to do that, and I was watching really like fantastic people try to do it around me in my area at my school, and then of course Dancing Machine, Michael Jackson's Robot Soul. I saw him with the Jackson Five do this live, and it was just like
Oh my
electrifying,
God.
And you hear the bum, bum, dun, 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 and it's like
Dun,
it's
dun, 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 dun.
it's just so we're me and a lot of my schoolmates we're trying to do this, and robot things kind of turn into different styles of the robot. Sometimes it would be kind of mannequin. Sometimes it was really like stoppy. Sometimes it was like heavy machinery where there'd be a little bounce like on top. And so I'm watching this, and this is what evolves into uh, what we're doing today.
Today. It's popular.
And I heard a bunch of different names for it. In the Bay, I've heard quaking. I remember busting. This was the thing that a lot of people would say. Rick James came out with the songs. We're busting out. I'm busting. People were busting. Um, People were stopping. Oh, can you stop like dime stopping? Well, you stop, you step. He stepped. You strut. So there's all these names.
I love you. You know, you're throwing history at us right now.
And the thing is that in my area, this is what a bunch of people were calling a bunch of different styles before the name Boogaloo becomes like a
The
unifying
forefront. Yeah.
umbrella for, right. So even though the word Boogaloo is an old word, and even though people used it for similar dances in the Bay, since if the people don't know, since the Black Panther era, and there's a documented history of these moves and these steps and these styles. But at some point, I heard Boogaloo. Yeah, you Boogaloo. I'm like Boogaloo. Like, where did this name come from? This is a weird name, and so I wasn't really feeling it. But then, since we were religiously watching Soul Train every Saturday, when the EBs, when the Electric Boogaloos get on Soul Train dancing to the Prince Sexy Dancer, and they go, the Electric Boogaloos. And when we see this, I remember my grandmother calling me out of the kitchen, David, these boys are doing that thing. And I come and I see this, and I mesmerized. And from then on, I'm like, Boogaloo. Like,
That's
a lot, then
amazing.
I
Wow.
was like, then I think for a lot of people in the Bay, we enjoyed this thing so much, and we were so happy to see the EBs on Soul Train that it's like they kind of represented all of us. And then that name, it's like, yeah, we can call it this thing.
That's
And yeah,
that's a beautiful homage. I mean,
yeah,
I want to
very
slow
much so.
down in that sense for
Right.
everybody. You know, please take notes as you're watching these conversations because Soul Train in its own is something you could go deep in research. And I always try to educate folks on the importance and how Soul Train highlighted literally the lockers and the electric boogaloos.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that was the Instagram of our time.
Very much so.
You know, that was the
Yeah, yeah.
Google popular videos that go viral at the time, you know?
So, but the background story to what's happening on the LA dance scene is that the media in the Bay Area just isn't as strong.
Yes.
So we wanted that exposure so bad. And we got
I can
salty
imagine.
because
I can
everybody
imagine.
was getting it from down south. And then when New York, when the word hip hop came along, and we're watching like the East Coast people like Lock, and we're like, that comes from California. And when we're watching the boogie dancers, we're like, but
That's
that's
from
so we were like, we were stupid salty. So we were on a mission to try to get up our name, you know, like that.
That's beautiful to hear, though. In another way, I could see being salty, but at the end of the day, it's lack of resources, and it's the luck of the drawers too. Like
No, but when I look back at it, I'm thinking about like, why did we practice like maniacs? So that salt, if that fueled that, I'm not mad at it. Like
that's
if that's what
beautiful.
makes it happen,
Wow.
you know.
So would you say that was like your introduction to popping as a whole in that sense? Because I love that you're bringing all these other terms, right? Like of how you identified popping before it became this boogaloo,
Right.
right?
So what I was doing, so before my BMX crash, I was doing these dances. You know what I mean? But after it, after my crash, like the level of popping and boogaloo in the Bay Area was wild and super, super advanced. So when I was coming back in the scene, they're like, "You doing that old thing, that this thing?" So I was the old guy then,
Ah,
you know, and then and there was some really innovative stuff happening in the Bay Area amongst the Filipino community, uh, the Black community, and just the Asian
so
community, just
please
in
take
general.
me
Oh
take
my
me in a
gosh.
little journey on your experience in the Bay. Because
Oh,
again, I again, as Lee and I got older, we were a big Electric Boogaloo fan, and I still am to this day. Pete, Pop, and Pete, I love you. We're gonna get you here
popping Pete.
too. But I say this because as I got older, I started realizing the power of storytelling, right?
Right.
That's why you're here. But how popping is, I really think for me, there's pride and joy that it's a West Coast movement all happening at the same time. Like from,
Mm,
you brought up San Diego to
yeah.
LA, Long Beach, all the way to
Yeah.
the Bay.
Yeah.
And we were on to something truly special, but
Yeah.
maybe share a little bit of like your experience in the Bay. What's something there that was special that you remember, a
Yeah.
memory? Please share it because I
Okay.
wanted people to get a glimpse of that, and maybe one day somebody will make a movie.
So like because I was pretty easygoing and like super loyal to my friends, they were cool enough to share techniques with me. And even though they weren't cool with each other, like they would share things with me. And so like me wanting to be this practitioner, um, so I was able to take a bit from here or there, synthesize to mix things together. Right when I came into the scene, when back into the scene, when I go deep, when this is my whole life, when I'm
What year
living
is
dance.
that? Would you say?
81 is when I'm
Okay,
all the
all
way
in.
in, all the
Okay,
way in. It's not like I'm biking, I do a little dancing on the side.
you're
Now
like,
it's
this
like,
is my calling. This is what I'm gonna do.
yep. And so there's a few people, uh, one guy named Baby Rob, another guy named Ed DeCumas, when I'm at Berkeley High School, a guy
Mm-hmm.
named Toy Master, a person named Mr. Fantastic. His God rest his soul, his name is Melvin McCullough. They were doing really like things where you would have to stretch for months to be able to get into the position to do the thing. And I wasn't a flexible person. And so I had to go to work like the W's, the hydraulics, all this stuff. This did not come natural to me. So I really had to like put hours and
Of
hours and hours
discipline.
and yeah. And the thing is some of these people were quite small in stature
Yeah.
and they were moving amazingly. And so for me to want to attempt these things, I had to, if I had to go down and go up, it made a really big impression. But I didn't think about it because I was just trying to do
What they're doing.
what they're doing, and they were cool enough to share with me their repertoire, and I would have some things, and I would trade it with them, and so we got to, and anybody that was my people, I wouldn't battle them, and so there was a camaraderie, and the community really backed me up. There's another person where a lot of my wave influences come from. His name is Boogaloo Vic. He's alive. He gets down, and a lot of people don't know who he is.
Yeah.
Um, there's a person who I learned like my shoulder waves from. His name is Tony. We call him Boneless. Um, and when they quit, I'm the one that is doing these moves. So decades later, I'm on tour with Jam on the Groove and France and Japan, and Usher is down, and he puts some of them in the video, and they're doing some of the steps that I got from them. And so they're seeing their legacy, and people don't know who they are. The person Boneless, Tony, he would take his daughter to dance class, hip hop dance class, right?
Yeah.
And at some point they do this thing with their neck like this,
Yeah.
and
Isolating it.
he goes to his daughter, I made that up, and she's like, "Daddy, stop!" Like just. So this really
He's,
upset him, and so he calls me up on Facebook, and he says, "Could you do me a favor, and could you tell my daughter?" So I had to explain it to her, like, you know, he owns a bar. He's fully tatted up.
yeah,
He
yeah,
rides
yeah.
a chopper. He's, looking Hell's Angeles. He doesn't look like
Yeah.
this. There's a total disconnect. So a lot of my stuff comes from people from the Bay that no one has seen or understands. So it's not all me. It's very much the way, even though like Berkeley wasn't really into strutting. This is a San Francisco thing.
Hmm.
So even though I come from the Bay and I don't strut, all my people do. It's like I'm down with Dana Durham, the Demons of the
Yeah.
Mind. I,
Demons
I
of the
know
Mind.
I know Lonnie Pop Tart.
Yeah.
We're matter of fact,
Gold. I mean,
yeah,
to me, that's such a golden era
yeah.
of gifts, and you already just shouting out their names is a big moment.
Yeah.
You
20.
know.
Lonnie was there. So we were dancing at Fisherman's Wharf when a hotel owner, a lady that came from France as a tourist, said that she'd like to have us dance in her hotel. And that's what gets me to Europe.
I mean, I was going to ask, that was going to be one of my
Yeah,
questions
yeah.
because, first I want to slow us down. I want to pay homage to San Francisco and the
The
Bay.
Bay. Oh
I
my
have
gosh.
to.
Then for me specifically, Berkeley. It's like I loved We'd Goat, but
I love to hear that because when we
Ber-
say the Bay, we all think San Francisco, but
right.
God, let's talk about all the cities
Oh
within
my
the Bay.
gosh, Richmond. Oh my gosh, the styles that come like that originating from Richmond, Berkeley, Oakland, and different areas in San Francisco. Not everybody's doing the Fillmore in San
Yeah.
Francisco. There's specific places, and you know, it's just a rich milieu getting all these different styles, and there's these superstars that uh, steel sharpens steel. The soloists are going against you. There's the whole community backing you up. It's exciting.
Yeah.
You're finding out you could do things you didn't know you could do. Your name is out. People, you're in situations. It's scary. You're overcoming these fears. It's priceless.
Wow. What a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing this. I think it's important. I wanted to shine some light in the Bay and what its contributions and clearly contributions and inspirations to you, and then what you've done for us. So this thing keeps
Right on.
going. I just want to make that clear. And then we're inspiring a whole other generation, and these names will live on, and I hope
Yeah.
people take note of that, and do the research. And just because Damon is doing this interview here doesn't mean you can't reach out on your own. You have to build your own relationships. You really do. And you just inspired me and touched me in ways. And I feel it's just important to say their name.
Yeah.
We're talking about some folks that they did it purely for the love.
Yeah. Let me shout out somebody, by the way.
Please.
Okay, one of these heavy hitters in the Bay was Rod Habibi, but no one knows him as Rod Habibi. Then his name was The Wizard.
Oh.
And people don't know who The Wizard is, but you know him as King Tech from Tech and Sway from The Wake Up Show, which gets syndicated worldwide and becomes like a radio force unto itself, along with Stretch and Babito on the East Coast. So King Tech was a badass dancer. Yeah,
At the core, the heart.
high level
Wow.
popper. So not a lot of people say his name, but he's one of the champions from the Bay
That's
as
beautiful.
well. Yeah.
Thank
So,
you.
shout
And I
out to
mean,
King Tech.
yes, big shout out
Yeah.
to all the names.
Yeah.
Because I see you, and I think when now that you're you're sharing these stories, I could see how you have a little bit of everyone. And
Very
that
much
is
so.
homage. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
My group, so there's a b-boy group from the Bay Area. They're called the Master City Breakers.
Okay.
And they allowed me to be like
You were like
a
the
pop.
popper.
So yeah, I was like the mascot.
Back then, that was a thing, you know?
That was a thing. So, but a lot of them had history from Sacramento. San Mateo, yes, but from Sacramento. So they had a bunch of different sack style steps, which is very different than what was going on in the San Francisco area basin. And so I was getting these footsteps and like these things like directly from them who didn't pop so much anymore, but they were now B-boys. So I was getting lots of material.
Yeah, I can only
to work
imagine.
with.
I mean, one of my biggest sayings for my students is that dance is indigenous to the specific communities that you're from.
Yeah.
That there's overlap, but they're so specific too.
Yeah.
And how it evolves as well, and they
Yeah.
connect as they evolve. So, I mean, this is beautiful. I think we're wrapping up right now. So
Okay.
one question I will ask. So you're talking about San Francisco, to end it this way. We will have a part 2, people. So don't get that sad yet. But you're here, Hawaii, the Bay. You're telling us this story, and then you leave, and you go to Europe. I believe Sweden.
Yeah.
How old were you? When did that happen?
I was 20. It was 1985.
Baby.
My the love of my life, my first girlfriend, Suzanne Erickson, Macia's mom.
Bam Bam's mom.
Yeah, lived with me in the States. And so when I get this job to go to France, I'm like, maybe we could meet when the job is over. And she's been telling me about Stockholm and her parents and stuff. I'm like, maybe I can go there to meet her parents. So it wasn't my intention on moving there. So I just go have a look-see. So that's what gets me over there.
That's what got you over there in that sense. Wow, that was 1985.
Yeah.
Prime of your dance.
Yeah. And there's a clip of me in a flat top in a red bicycling jersey. That's like literally a few days before I got to Sweden. This is where I met his mother in Amsterdam, and this was shot in a theater in Amsterdam from some of her friends. Just by the way, shot this thing. Yeah. So.
Well, then again, another testament of how that was meant to be.
Yeah.
That's no coincidence.
Lots of that going on.
Yes, absolutely. I think I'll end it right here. I wanted to really get deep with you in the sense of your origins and who you are. I got super excited to just already hear of your upbringing, and it's all connecting in a different way, especially as I see you dance, even till this day, even to this moment. I see, I can't help but think, like, when you taught at UCLA, you were talking, you're teaching like rhythms and how you connect to these rhythms. Then I can't help but think of polyrhythms, and then your influence in growing up in Hawaii, and you were talking about the Polynesian folks. And I have my own background in I have family that are Samoan and some exposure to it. So that's its own thing. So anyways, I'm having these moments as you're speaking. I'm like, that makes sense. I'm saying all this to end it this way, that there's not one thing that defines us, but yet the many experiences that put in this puzzle for us to be who we are today. And I'm just very much inspired by your story. Thank you for sharing your origins. Big shout out to San Francisco, the Bay in San Francisco, and all the names. Berkeley, like you said, San Mateo, Oakland.
Yeah.
I want to put that out there because I think as artists, it's important that you do your own research, because I'm a big believer that how do you know where you're going if you don't know where you're from? So keep doing that research. That's what empowered me to keep moving forward, to know that my ancestors and my family and my people contributed in deep ways, empowered me in ways that I needed to hear to keep moving. Trust me, you're doing that for someone else. So thank you so much, Damon Frost. We're going to go a little deeper in part 2, but we really appreciate you. Thank you for being with us, Damon.
Thank you for having me. Bless you, sis.
Thank you. Peace out, everybody. See everybody soon.